morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. So, what I wanted to talk to you today about is the big announcement that was made this week by the Biden administration, which will bring significant changes to the asylum law in United States. So, let me give you a little prequel because they are saying that this is the most significant change of the last 30 years. When people come to United States, they can present themselves at the U.S. port of entry. If you're coming in by ship, there are obviously the docks, and you can along the southern and the northern border. There are ports of entry, right? You can come there, and you can declare that I'm coming to seek asylum, and there are procedures in place to give you credible fear interview process. You may be detained, you may be not detained, you parole you in, and so on and so forth for you to have a hearing in front of the judge, right? Those are all the legal ways of entry to the United States. So nobody's saying that the only way to seek asylum is cross the border between the points of entry and then, come to an attorney and seek it. If you're running away from persecution, you can come to the entry point into United States and declare that you're seeking asylum. And obviously, it's the more burdensome way in certain respects, right? So a lot of people from all over the world choose to attempt to cross the border illegally. There's no other way to say, to run across, to cross, to enter United States in between those legal ports of entry. And up until this Biden announcement, if you've crossed successfully, I guess, and you were not detained, right? You were in United States, and being in United States, you can then apply for asylum, right? And then you could go in front of an asylum officer, and you can declare what your asylum claim is. And if the officer at the asylum office doesn't believe you, you're put in removal proceedings, and then you have a second bite of the apple. Conversely, if you're detained while trying to cross and you put in a in a detention facility, you can then say that you have a fear of returning to your home country. You'd be given an incredible fear interview, and then if you pass that, and sometimes people are not even given a credible fear interview, you will be let out of detention into United States to await your day in the immigration court, right? So this is a general overview of what happens with asylum seekers now. What Biden administration has announced will dramatically change that. Without going into big details and stuff, what you need to know is in May, when this policy goes into effect, if you've crossed the US border illegally, you can no longer apply for asylum. That will pretermit, meaning that will forbid, that would not allow you to seek asylum. The only way you'd be able to seek asylum if you've legally entered or have been paroled into United States, and then you can declare your fear of returning back and go through the process. This is huge. This is huge. This is the biggest change that we've seen in my lifetime. And I would say overall, because so far, everybody who has crossed the border were able to come in and apply for asylum. This means that people who have crossed the border will have a significantly reduced pathways to legalization, right? Because right now, if you've crossed the border illegally, right, if you've come in between the ports of entry, you can apply for asylum. Or if you have family here, I'm not going to go into all of that. There's a video on that. But if you have family here, you can legalize through family, and you're probably going to have to go through consular processing, go back home and stuff. So right now, realistically speaking, you only have two ways of legalizing: asylum or family petition. We're taking one away. We're taking one away. That one, the asylum portion of it, represents hundreds of thousands of cases. If you have heard that the immigration courts are insanely backed up and these things are taking forever and ever, yes, they're backed up. Even though they've hired hundreds of judges in the last couple of years, they've added dozens and dozens of judges in New York, they've added judges in Newark, they've added judges in California, across the border. Courts are overwhelmed. Even with a very liberal policy of being able to terminate non-viable, let's say, cases, the ones that realistically do not have shots at winning, right? That some people have gone and applied, maybe themselves, maybe through a prepare for an asylum. Some of them do not have a viable chance of winning, and the Biden administration has been giving a very liberal procedure of terminating those cases, not making them go forward the way the Trump administration did, which allows a person to, yes, stay here without any documents, but conversely also not have a deportation order. Even with all of that in play for the last 2 years, the immigration court insanely backed up, right? If you think about it, even if you take hundreds of judges who only hear 2, 3, maybe 4, that's like crazy amount of case a day, right? um, you're not reaching the type of numbers that would significantly reduce in any meaningful way the backlog that we have. So this change in the policy will, over time, for sure, definitely without a doubt, create an opportunity for the immigration court to unpack its caseload. Because if people are crossing the border in mass and mass and mass, but they are now no longer allowed to apply for asylum, which means no work authorization, no social security, no driver's licenses, no ability to work across the country, because there are jurisdictions that cooperate with ICE that are not very friendly to certain types of immigrants, right? So over time, this news will spread like wildfire through the immigrant communities. It's going to spill across the border into Mexico and so on and so forth, and down the entire world, because people coming across the southern border are not just from Latin America. They're from Africa, they're from Eastern Europe, they're from all over the world. So it is a incorrect presumption that all the people coming across the southern border are coming down from Latin America. That is incorrect. In my chair in my office, I have seen people from around the world who've crossed either the southern or the northern border. Obviously, the northern border, not so much, because it's really hard to get into Canada, just it is to get into the United States. Another thing is that this new announcement also says that if you, on your route to United States, have crossed other countries where you reasonably would be safe, you chose not to seek asylum there, you will not be able to put forward your claim in the United States, right? So, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're traveling from Peru. My last consult yesterday was from Peru, so that's the first country that popped into my head. Let's say you travel from Peru. You've traveled through 12 countries, and your claim to asylum is that there is a gang that is after you specifically in Peru because they want you to join them, or they want your store, or they want your business, or so on and so forth. Let's say that gang doesn't operate, let's say, in Mexico. It doesn't exist in Mexico. Therefore, because you're running away from persecution by that gang, you would reasonably be safe in Mexico. And therefore, this policy prevents you from choosing to come to the United States and apply for asylum when you have crossed Mexico, which is a safe country for you, and you could have stayed there safely and apply for asylum. Overall, I do anticipate challenges. Some already up in arms about this policy. We hear not an unreasonable policy, and overall, I think it will ultimately help our system to function better. And I think it will help the people with legitimate asylum claims to be heard faster in the court, for everything to slow down, for everything to start working more expeditiously. Because as we speak, I have dozens of clients who have applied for asylum in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, which is a really long time ago. And they're sitting in United States in limbo because the system is so backed up, and they don't hear no, they don't hear yes. They have not resolved their legal status, not because they did anything wrong, but because the system is so backed up. Okay. So that is a huge change. And we're going to put together a blog and we're going to post it on all social media. So if you have any questions about it, you can definitely get in touch with us. But just to reiterate, this is not due to go into effect until May. Right now, everything stays the same, but it was an announcement that was made. And I don't think, short of something drastic happening in the next couple of years, there's anything that will stop it from going into effect. As always, thank you so much for listening. I hope this, helped you a little bit. If you have any questions, I want you to please contact us because this is a huge change. It is huge, 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 huge. And the repercussions of it are going to be coming over the next couple of years. I'm sure there will be lawsuits. I have zero doubts about it. I'm sure there will be changes, maybe adjustments, maybe exceptions. But overall, with this announcement, we're sort of entering a new era for the asylum law. And I think there's going to be a ton of information about it online. And if you have any questions, please do contact us. All of our information is here. You can call us, submit your inquiry online, and we're happy to respond. Thank you so much. And join me again next week on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Thank you. Bye.